to witness the daunting, the exciting, the most awaited question and answer portion.
Now, I would like to remind everyone that all the previous scores of our finalists are now being disregarded. They are now back to zero. Now, to determine this year's winners, the 5 finalists will be judged based on their beauty, intelligence, and judges' overall impression of our candidates.
Our Binibinis will be asked one common question. The rest of the finalists will wear headsets so they will not be able to hear the question as we progress. Each is given 45 seconds to deliver her answer. And reminder finalists, upon hearing this sound, ay murag naman sila kadungog. Hi ladies, do you hear us? Ang mukaway og una mao na ginay daog. Ay! Uptick,
There you go.
Uptick just number 6.
If only Carla was one of the judges tonight.
Yeah, I'm sorry, number 6.
But who knows? Who knows?
All right, so let's move on with our first finalist this evening. Candidate number 6, join us up here, will you?
Candidate number 6, Christine Porzuelo.
Hello, candidate number 6.
Hello, ma'am. Maayong gabi.
Ay, ma'am, man. Pwede ate lang?
Ate.
Ano naman? All right, mag-social distance po tayo, you know. We are still practicing very strict protocols here because Toledo City is still a very safe city. So, pakpakisad na safe in yung city. Uy. Huh?
Toledo City is winning.
Yes,
That's what
it is
I can
winning.
say.
You guys are joyful, but you are also practicing the right protocols when it comes to events like this. Everybody is wearing their masks and face shields and sitting 1 seat apart.
And I heard that the rollout of vaccines are starting, so we truly encourage everyone to get vaccinated. Carla and I had our first jabs last week. So once again, get vaccinated and be part of the solution in this battle against COVID-19.
That's right. Number 6, have you been vaccinated already?
Not yet, but I'm prepared. Because I want to be safe and be healthy.
That's right.
That's
Very
right.
smart. Very smart.
Yes, because I still want to be with my family and friends. Thank you so much. Yes, we should be vaccinated after this.
One day, we look forward to those group hugs, diba, Carla?
That is true. And one day we will look forward to, you know, being closer to each other again, right?
Yes.
All
So,
right.
Someday.
Are you
Candidate number
ready?
6, Mora dito.
Dili pa, uy.
Di ba,
Ikaw
di ay?
yun.
Candidate number 6, are you ready for your final Q&A?
I should be ready.
All right, here we go.
I am loving your confidence, number 6. All right, here we go. So last year, everybody in the world experienced a global pandemic and the devastation that came with it. But what is one positive lesson that you learned having gone through the pandemic? Once again, everybody in the world experienced a global pandemic, a devastating global pandemic. What is the one positive lesson that you learned having gone through the pandemic?
Thank you for that question. In this time of pandemic, no one expect of this. One thing I've realized about is that life is too short. We must cherish this precious life of us. We must have the capabilities to share the positive asset, because I truly believe that positive asset changes everything. In this time of pandemic, we should be positive, not literally in the spreading virus, but to have a positive mindset, because in that we can go forward and turn into life and go back into normal living. Thank you, and maayong gabi.
Thank you very much. Binibining number 6. Yeah, because of the pandemic, I believe life became more meaningful.
Thank you very much, number 6. And very true. Have a positive mindset. Don't test positive.
Yes. And we would like to we'll remind the others later on. I think they can't hear us. We would like to remind candidate number 7, you have 45 seconds to answer your final Q&A. But how are you feeling right now?
Actually, I'm a bit nervous, but I'm overwhelmed because among 24 lovely candidates vying for the title, I'm finally here standing in front of you tonight.
A big round of applause for Binibining 7. You truly deserve this spot. Now, one last hurdle. Are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Carla.
Candidate number 7. Last year, the world experienced a global pandemic, a devastating one. What is the one positive lesson that you learned having gone through the pandemic? Once again, what's the one positive lesson that you have learned having gone through the pandemic?
Thank you for that very amazing question. Well, for me, as a woman, I always see a beauty in every bad situation. And even with the global pandemic hits the world, I always see the positivity around it. Like I always see that everyone is in bad position and are struggling, but there are even there are bad days and life might be so hard, but they are still battling and fight against the pandemic. And one more thing, I'm very amazed with the people how they are still here and willing to fight for this pandemic, and they didn't let their problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Binibining 7.
Thank you very much.
We move on with Binibining 23, Athena Claire Auxilio.
Hello, Athena.
Hello, good evening.
Athena, you're very, very pretty.
Oh, thank you. You're too pretty as well.
Ah, thank you.
Mora
I know-
to imong gihuwat.
As per my friend, I know, right? All right, Athena. Do you have a special someone in the audience? Or pwede ba ka mo Bulgar? Nabas mama, nas papa.
It's okay. Yes, I do. I have a special someone.
Oh, is it your boyfriend or girlfriend? You know, which one?
He's my boyfriend.
Boyfriend. We are, no, of course I have to ask boyfriend
Oo.
or girlfriend. We gender equality.
Asa man ang
people.
boyfriend ni Binibining 23? Shagit.
Kung wa ang boyfriend diri buwagin na day, kay ngano wa ning support. 'Di ba? Asa na diri?
Naa? Naa?
Nas backstage ko no. Uy, gawat na nimo daan sa backstage. All right, Athena, you have one last hurdle that separates you from being candidate number 23 to Binibining Toledo 2021. One
Now,
last hurdle.
I
Are you
would
ready?
like to remind you that you have 45 seconds to answer your final question. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Here we go.
All right, candidate number 23. Last year, the entire world faced a global pandemic and was devastated. What is the one positive lesson that you learned having gone through the pandemic? Once again, what's one positive lesson that you learned having gone through the pandemic?
The pandemic has been hard, especially for all of us in the world. But the one positive thing that I have achieved in this pandemic was to find myself and to find a better way to. Sorry.
May we remind everyone to please let our Binibini finish her answer. Having gone through the pandemic, what's the one positive lesson you have learned? Take a deep breath.
The pandemic has made a lot of people suffer, but the one positive thing that I have learned was to find myself. Because I had a.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Binibining
much.
23. And I believe that goes for a lot of us. We knew and find out a lot of things about
do.
ourselves during the pandemic.
We do find out a lot about other things. And you know what? Toledo City, may I just remind everyone that it is not easy to be up on stage. It takes a lot of grace under extreme pressure. So if may we ask everyone to please reserve your applause, cheers, or unsa pa may naadira na ganahan ninyo ipagawas until after our binibinis have answered to give our judges time. So, with
All right.
that said,
Let's move on with our
binibining.
fourth finalist, Binibining 15, Audrey Sabal.
Hello, Audrey.
Hi, Audrey.
Hello.
Hi. You know what? You mentioned a while ago that you experienced acne the past year, correct?
Yes.
That sometimes, it's triggered by stress or anxiety, which was triggered by the pandemic, I'm sure.
Yes, it actually is.
Right. You know what? If you need ever anything, Miss Myra E will be happy to give you some. Duulan na si Ate Chris. She's our brand ambassador and very much willing to help. But you know what?
I think she's very much willing to help, giving you advices
Yeah.
on what you can do or her skincare routine.
Or basta na siya botelya na Myra E dira. Kaching sa day, uy. Next year ko na mo sponsor siya. All right, candidate number 15. So you guys have gone through, what music were you listening to?
I don't know the title, but it was actually really upbeat.
Upbeat.
Yes.
So you are excited, you're pumped.
Yes, it made me feel energized.
All right, here we go.
That's exciting because you have one hurdle left, right? One last question that separates you from being just a candidate to the next Binibining Toledo 2021. So are you ready?
Yes.
All right,
All right.
A quick reminder though, candidate number 15, you have 45 seconds to answer the final question. 45 seconds. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go.
All right, Binibining number 15. Last year, the world experienced a global pandemic and was devastated. What is the one positive lesson you learned having gone through the pandemic? Once again, what's one positive lesson that you have learned having gone through the pandemic?
If there was one thing that I learned during this pandemic is that I learned to be strong, because when this pandemic hit, there was actually no, my parents were actually in abroad. They were not able to be with us since they needed to work so that they can provide for us financially. And because of that, as the eldest child, I had to stay strong for myself and my brother. And I admit it was never easy between cooking, paying the bills, and at the same time being a student. It was never easy, and I admit that I cried how many times because I know that it wasn't all right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Binibining 15, for that very inspiring answer.
I'm sure your siblings are very, very appreciative of you.
Yeah, and
Guy number
I'm
15.
sure your parents are proud, very, very proud of what you've become right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Binibining 15 a big round of applause. Her strength exudes her.
Thank you very much. And finally, we have Binibining 22, Angel Jane Ruiz.
Naman ang coach, Dirio. Ligo ng coach. Hello.
Hello.
Is it better, do you think, to be the last candidate, or you think it's an advantage or a disadvantage?
I feel like a lot of pressure is on me right now considering I'm the last candidate. But I'm really excited to be standing here in the top 5.
Well, you truly deserve the spot, but just breathe in, breathe out. Just tell us what the first thing that comes to your mind and be true to yourself.
Yeah. Don't feel any pressure right now. All right.
All right.
You ready?
Yes, go.
Binibining 22, you have your final question, and you have 45 seconds to answer your final question. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, here we go. Carla.
Last year, the world experienced a global pandemic, and it was devastating. What is the one positive lesson you learned having gone through the pandemic?
The one lesson I learned is to never lose your hope and never lose your faith to God, because God is always there for us in every hard times we've encountered. And during these trying times, we need to work together as one community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Binibining 22. As